Good afternoon, class. My name is Jake Ebert, and the country I chose to talk about trade and aid is Egypt. The United States and Egypt have a strong partnership based on mutual interests in the Middle East, peace and stability, economic opportunity, and regional security. The core objective of U.S. policy is to promote a stable and prosperous Egypt. History between the two countries dates back to 1922, following the independence of Egypt from under the United Kingdom, when diplomatic relations between the U.S. and Egypt were created. In 1979, after the Egyptian-Israeli peace treaty, the U.S. showed more interest in the region, in the country itself. They tried to seek ways to increase economic and trade ties through various partnerships and agreements. In 1990, negotiations for a free trade agreement between the two countries were underway. Egypt over the last 20 years has been unstable, and negotiations for a free trade agreement have not yet been met. As of 2014, a new president has taken control of Egypt, promoting economic reform and similar outlooks as the U.S. He was solely responsible for ending some of the turmoil and corruption and help combating some of the same things today. Trade between the two countries. The main exports out of Egypt include petroleum products, and recently they've been ramping up natural gas. They're the third largest natural gas producer of all African countries, and the largest oil producer of African countries. As far as the U.S. goes, we import, our biggest import from Egypt is petroleum. Texas, followed by New Jersey and New York. And second is apparel, art, and collector's items. New York being the largest state to import some of those materials. What we send to Egypt, Egyptian imports from the U.S. include agriculture, food, machinery, benefits their industry, household appliances and electrical equipment, vehicles including cars and aircraft, passenger, commercial, and military, and other various materials, wood and paper products, chemicals, and such. As far as aid goes, military aid being the highest, it's about $1.3 billion a year, and it's been so over the last 40 years. Since 1946, you can estimate about $80 billion, not including inflation, not adjusted for inflation, has been sent to Egypt for military aid, and about $50 billion over the last 40 years. This is mainly because we have similar enemies in the Middle East to fight counterterrorism. Economic aid has been $30 billion over the last 40 years, and has aided things such as humanitarian, education. Education is important in the region because the majority of the population is of a younger generation. Hopefully aiming to educate the young, to promote development in the future. U.S. has also tried to develop their marketable skills, which has led to job growth. Economic aid also provides agriculture, healthcare, and political and economic reform. The comparative advantage to the U.S. for Egypt is the oil and gas industry. Is their main and one of their only focuses of export. They're currently developing agreements with the nearby countries to produce, transfer, and refine natural gas with goals to be one of the largest natural gas distributors, not only in the region but the world. The U.S. has absolute advantage in military aid, something of like aid not trade rather. And agriculture, it seems, until Egypt develops a proper irrigation, high-level irrigation system, they're not. Makes more sense to trade with the U.S. at this point, although there are tariffs in place to try to promote domestic agricultural production. As a summary, the last year GDP has rose 5.3%. Unemployment is at its lowest rate since 2011, and inflation is rising, but still early in presidential and economic reform. They are providing subsidized necessities. This is all in hope to, along with the natural gas production and export, to hopefully lower their extremely high debt. Thank you.